Animism is a belief system or worldview that attributes spiritual essence or consciousness to all elements of nature, including animals, plants, rocks, rivers, mountains, and even natural forces like wind and thunder. It is the belief that everything in the natural world is imbued with spirit, and these spirits can interact with humans and influence the natural world. Animism is one of the oldest and most widespread forms of religious or spiritual belief, often associated with indigenous cultures around the world. Key concepts of animism: spiritual essence in all things. 1. At the heart of animism is the belief that all things, living and non-living, possess a spiritual essence. 1. Unlike materialist or mechanistic views, which see objects and creatures as mere physical entities, animism perceives them as animated by spiritual forces. 1. This includes not just animals and plants but also rocks, rivers, mountains, and even objects created by humans. 2. For animists, everything is alive in a spiritual sense, and each entity or natural element has its own form of consciousness, personality, or soul. 2. The world is thus seen as a network of interconnected spirits. Interconnectedness of life. 1. Animism emphasizes the interconnectedness of all beings, both human and non-human. 1. It suggests that human beings are not separate from the natural world, but an integral part of it, with mutual relationships and responsibilities toward nature. 1. This interconnectedness often leads to a deep sense of respect and reverence for the environment. 2. Animistic practices often involve rituals that honor, placate, or communicate with the spirits of animals, plants, ancestors, and elements of nature. 2. The understanding is that humans, animals, and the natural world coexist in a reciprocal relationship. Spirits and deities. 1. In animistic belief systems, spirits are often seen as influencing or controlling the forces of nature, and they may inhabit particular places, objects, or beings. 1. These spirits can be benevolent, neutral, or malevolent, and they may require offerings, prayers, or rituals to maintain balance and harmony in the world. 2. Some animistic systems have a pantheon of gods or deities, but these gods are usually not seen as separate from the natural world. 2. They might be embodied in specific natural features, like a mountain god, river goddess, or forest spirit. Rituals and practices. 1. Rituals and ceremonies in animistic traditions often aim to maintain harmony between humans, spirits, and the natural world. 1. These may include offerings, sacrifices, dances, prayers, or rites of passage intended to honor the spirits, seek their protection, or ensure fertility and prosperity. 2. Shamanism is a key practice in many animistic cultures. 2. Shamans, spiritual leaders or healers, are believed to have the ability to communicate with spirits, enter altered states of consciousness, and mediate between the human world and the spiritual realm. Respect for nature. 1. Since animism sees the natural world as inhabited by spirits, it fosters a deep respect for nature. 1. In many animistic societies, there are taboos or laws prohibiting the unnecessary harm of animals, plants, or landscapes because of the belief that these beings have their own spiritual agency. 2. This respect often translates into practices of sustainable living, where humans are seen as caretakers of the earth, ensuring that their actions do not upset the balance of nature or offend the spirits that inhabit the world. Animism in different cultures. Animism is not a single, unified religion but a worldview that can be found in various forms across many cultures. Some examples include indigenous cultures. 1. Many indigenous peoples across the world hold animistic beliefs. 1. These can be found in Native American, African, Pacific Islander, and Australian Aboriginal cultures, among others. 1. In these traditions, natural elements, animals, and ancestors are revered as spiritual entities, and ceremonies are performed to maintain harmonious relationships with the spirits of the land and creatures. Shinto, Japan. 1. The traditional religion of Shinto, practiced in Japan, is considered a form of animism. 1. Shinto teaches that kami, or spirits, inhabit natural objects and phenomena such as mountains, rivers, trees, and animals. 1. These spirits are revered and celebrated in rituals and festivals to ensure balance and harmony in the world. African traditional religions. 1. Many African cultures adhere to animistic beliefs, seeing spirits in the natural world, including trees, rivers, and animals. 1. The spirits of ancestors are also significant, and ceremonies are held to honor and communicate with them. 1. Vodou, Yoruba, and Zulu traditions, for instance, are deeply rooted in animistic understandings of the world. Australian Aboriginal beliefs. 1. Australian Aboriginal spirituality is deeply animistic. 1. The dreaming, or dream time, is a central concept, representing the time when ancestral beings, often associated with animals, plants, and other natural features, created the world. 1. These ancestors continue to exist in the land and guide the living through spiritual and ritual practices. Hinduism and Buddhism. 1. While not strictly animistic in the way indigenous traditions might be, certain aspects of Hinduism and Buddhism can be considered animistic, particularly in their reverence for natural elements. 1. In Hinduism, various gods and goddesses are associated with nature, for example, rivers like Ganga or forests like Aranyani, and in some Buddhist practices, natural phenomena are respected as embodying spiritual energy. Paganism and neo-paganism. 1. Some modern pagan and neo-pagan traditions, such as Wicca, incorporate animistic beliefs, revering nature, animals, and the earth as sacred. 1. The worship of nature spirits and the practice of rituals that honor the natural cycles, for example, the phases of the moon, the solstices, are common. Animism versus monotheism and polytheism. 1. Unlike monotheistic religions, such as Christianity, Islam, and Judaism, which posit the existence of one or more supreme deities, animism does not necessarily focus on worshipping a single god or gods. 1. Instead, it centers on the idea that spiritual energy is present in all things, and that the entire universe is alive and interconnected. 2. While polytheistic religions have a pantheon of gods and deities, animism doesn't always fit neatly into this category. 2. Instead of focusing on gods that personify particular aspects of life, animism's primary focus is on the relationship between humans and the spirits in nature. Animism in the modern world. Although animism is often associated with indigenous traditions, elements of animistic thinking can be found in many aspects of contemporary spirituality and environmentalism. Some modern eco-spiritual movements have drawn on animistic ideas to advocate for a deeper spiritual connection with the earth and a more ethical approach to environmental conservation. In the context of modernity, animism also intersects with movements like deep ecology and biocentrism, which stress the inherent value of nature and its spiritual significance, challenging the anthropocentric worldview that dominates much of contemporary society. Conclusion: animism is a worldview that sees all aspects of nature as alive and spiritually connected, with humans being part of a larger web of relationships with plants, animals, landscapes, and forces of nature. It emphasizes respect, reciprocity, and harmony with the natural world, offering a holistic and integrative way of understanding life. While animism is often associated with indigenous and traditional cultures, it also influences contemporary environmentalism and spiritual practices that aim to reconnect humanity with the earth and its rhythm.